I have with me here the principal organizer, Dr. Marcus Ekure, and he's briefly going to tell us how this training section has been going from the inception. Please, sir, can you kindly tell us how it has been from day one of MeTrEds empowerment training?
Thank you very much. For me, it's been a very awesome experience, and not just me alone, for everyone that has actually participated from the very day one, which is on the 11th of December 2023. It's been awesome. It's been life transforming. It's been, so insightful with the testimonials we've been getting on records. I'm really very, very happy that this is happening. Day one basically was introduction.
Yeah.
So where we brought in someone like a personality like Dr. Charles Apoki, who is a renowned public speaker, international public speaker of great reputation. And not just that, an entrepreneur, a rural entrepreneur,
Sure.
Because by the configuration of MeTrED is designed to actually, reflect prevalent realities of the context, localizing the contents of the program. So Apoki gave them a charge, spoke to them about entrepreneurial behavior, that's rural entrepreneurial behavior, and the kind of behavior that permits for success, which the participants must embrace in order for them to achieve a successful rural entrepreneurial outcomes. So it was really mind-blowing because he related so much to the context. He spoke to the very issues, the challenges the people are facing. He talked about attitude, bad attitude on the part of the rural entrepreneur being a very big problem, constraint, impeding the success of rural entrepreneurship, within the context. He talked about, poor receptiveness to customers. He talked about some of the institutional frameworks and all that. So it was really very, very refreshing, the one. Thereafter, we had I had opportunity of speaking, engaging with the people, where I explained what the program is all about. I gave them insight about the configuration of MeTrEds and what they should be expecting all through the period of the training and everything. Then we had the training director. That's every train has a director. So the training director came on board and unveiled the training guidelines, that's the operational procedure rules and regulations to them, and to guide the operational procedure of the train. Thereafter, we had the president, the various sponsors, give their opening remarks to the participants and welcoming them on board the train, so and at the end we departmentalized them into the various departments, that the skill options. Basically, we are having 8 skills. Agriculture, that's agric department, which embraces value chain of various agricultural areas like cassava production and processing, fish production and processing, vegetables, snails, and a whole lot of other value chains. So we have 2 experts in that department who have been actually impacting these students from their rich wealth of experience, in the contest. So we also have the fashion department. It's been so amazing with the fashion department, right in our very eyes. We've seen students within the day 3 already producing lovely attire, apparels, and other African apparels, and they're so excited. And there was one specific lecture they had on measurements, where they taught them the mathematics of fashion. So many of them were so excited, and they said they've never seen this before. In that class, you actually taught how to just look at somebody without even holding the tapes. They could actually measure the person. So it was refreshing for so many of them. And it's also important to state here that the configuration of the participants, cut across 3 interests. We have a group of participants who are practicing rural entrepreneurs, people who have small, medium-scale enterprises running. They are here. then they have their own objectives and expectation, which is to actually look at increasing their skills and their management skills, then getting strategies to better scale the current ecosystem challenges facing them at the moment. Then we have category B, which comprises a set of students, participants who have not done business before. They don't have any enterprise, so their expectation is really to gather information that will enable them build capacity, that will enable them, start their own businesses here. Then we have the final category, which is those we refer to as once practicing rural entrepreneurs, but at some point they fell out due to ecosystem challenges. They are no longer in business. So their expectation is to actually look at what really happened, what went wrong, to gain knowledge with respect to what they would have done wrong that brought about that, and how these challenges can be navigated. So these are the three categories of entrepreneurs, that's participants that we have here with different diverse objectives. But one thing that is really common to the various objectives they are having, because we actually engage them at some point where we profile the three participants to come up with 10 reasons each per group as to challenges peculiar to these different groups and their various expectations and objectives. And one thing common among the three groups we discovered is funding issues.
True.
Yeah, so this has actually influenced the configuration of the solution we are bringing to them, and that's one of the unique nature of this model. So most of the model we've seen before now is such that the solutions are generated externally and trusted on the people. All right, so but this is a model that generates the problems with the people, finds out the problems facing rural entrepreneurs, and generate the solution to the problem. So these problems has to come from the people, not the imposed problem or what you think is their problem. Because what you think is their problem might not necessarily be the problem. But inspired by the present reality of the hardship facing the developing countries, especially Nigeria as a country today, talking about a high cost of living crisis, talking about inflation problems, talking about the increasing rate of poverty, and the worst increasing, that's the worst rate of SMEs development, as in the poor performance of SMEs development, and increasing rate of unemployment. There we also have issues of even migration issues of people drifting from the rural areas to urban, rural to abroad in quest for survival. So many of them losing their lives, greener pasture, losing their lives in the Mediterranean Sea, and all that. These are all issues of concern to us that has actually inspired this model, and these are issues that the model is going to be tackling directly or indirectly. And it's also important to note that this model aligns with about 11 of the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, so which makes it very unique and top-notch.
Awesome.
So I mentioned two departments already, the fashion and the agri department. We also have the catering department, which explores various catering, that's recipe in the catering industry, that's culinary industry. We're teaching them confectionaries and a whole lot of range of products, and not just teaching them the products alone. The entrepreneurship aspect teaches them, because vocation is just like giving you a seed in your hands, but entrepreneurship teaches you how to plant the seed and nurture the seed, so that's it basically. Then we also have the leatherworks department, where we teach them how to make footwears. Today the footwear business is a very large industry. You don't really need to look outside. We have a lot of schools here, and if you talk to these schools, they tell you they make their footwears from outside the community. This contest, they go to urban areas to get these things, but these things can be done in the rural area. So this is what we are talking about. All right, so we are teaching them how to do all that. Then we also have, I've talked about the fashion. Then there's also phone repairs. It's really amazing that just day two into the phone repair skill building, a lady who has never fixed phone before was able to replace a screen, an Android screen, faulty screen. Replaced an Android screen, and not just that, another person was able to replace the charging port. For us, that's amazing solution. And it also interests everyone to know that the people from the community are beginning to surface, to come with their challenges, their problems, coming with their phones to get repaired in the system. And it's really very interesting and fascinating. So we are actually using one stone to kill so many birds. We are building capacity for rural entrepreneurs and potential rural entrepreneurs, while we're also solving social problems, like the barbing department. We also have the barbing department where people get their hair cut. They train them how to get haircuts, and all that, both ladies and all that. So, and interestingly, the village people, some of the villages are beginning to bring their children to come and have their hair cut for free. So we don't charge them. So we are using the stone to kill so many birds. Yeah. So MeTrEds for me is really the best thing that has happened or is going to happen to the African contest, not just the Africa alone, talking about global South contest generally, especially in the rurality contest, it's going to be the best thing that is going to happen. So in days to come, today is the day 5. Yesterday being the day 4, the 4th day, the entrepreneurship session started. Another thing I also want to stress here is we actually took time to separate the vocational aspect from the entrepreneurship aspect. Okay. Yeah, the vocational aspect started on the day 1 after the introductory procedures, and it runs from morning till 5 o'clock in the evening, and the day 2, the vocation also continued. Then day 3, it continued. Then on the day 4, entrepreneurship session started. So usually entrepreneurship session from this configuration runs from the morning hour from 9 a.m. Yesterday we started 9 a.m. and it ran from 9 to 1 p.m. Then from 1 p.m. When we close the entrepreneurship aspect, then the vocational side started till 5 in the evening. It also interests us to know that there are certain departments like the fashion design departments that stay back. Because currently they have about 4 machines, sewing machines here, and students are beginning to produce apparels, so they stay back till maybe sometimes 7 in the evening, and that's quite mind-blowing for me, and yesterday, the entrepreneurship session yesterday, we had a professor of entrepreneurship, Professor Anuku, who is very much attuned with the contest, the rural contest in the Nigerian setting, understands the challenges facing rural entrepreneurs and others. So he had a session with them where he exposed them to the difference between an entrepreneur and a business person, because that's one of the jargon that is so confusing to a lot of people. People abuse it. It's one of the most abused words today. Even politicians, you talk about even academics. In the academics, it's highly abused, trying to mix up entrepreneur for a business person. So the difference was actually delineated yesterday by Professor Anuku, and it was quite interesting to the participants. He also taught them various ecosystem challenges, that's the business, exposed them to business environments and challenges of the business environment and strategies to navigate these challenges. Then we had a young lady, Ayomide, she's based in Lagos, a social media entrepreneur who does her sells products through her social media handles, and with just 20,000 naira, like she said to the audience, we captured it virtually, and it was so clear as though she was here live to us. That's a fantastic innovation. Wow. It has never happened before with the old strain, which is MET. So it was very interesting. She inspired the audience, the participants, with her story. And in fact, that aspect where she advised that you don't really need to wait for money to come before you start, that the best time to start is now. True. And not every business you really need money to start. So that's quite mind-blowing for so many of the participants. And there's also a place of mentorship here. Like, we have connected them to Ayomide. True. And Ayomide, for those who are interested in social media marketing and entrepreneurship from the rural contest, yes, they've gotten access to Ayomide, and Ayomide is going to be providing mentorship for them. So that's part of the configuration of this. Then interestingly, we also hooked up to the United States of America yesterday, with an agile transformation coach. Wow. Talking about Ruse Avre, who is based in the US. He had a session, a very interesting and awesome session with the participants yesterday, where he taught them about agile transformation and how it can be engaged at the rural context to transform their businesses, their rural enterprises. So it was mind-blowing for them. And very interestingly, the language was so rural. He used their own language. He was so connected to the people. There was a great connection. Then we had the SA and SSA from the government, Delta State government,
Awesome.
who came into the scene yesterday. So Ogaga talks. So he had a very amazing session with the people. He spoke to them in a language that they could understand. And he cited a lot of instances. He used a lot of case studies. You know, he talked about the Igbo methodology, business ontology, and how, you know, it can be used to navigate difficult ecosystem challenges, you know, so, and it was quite informative to them and refreshing to them, you know. So they've really learned so much, and looking at the testimonials where I get what they are saying, you know, sometimes I just